Hey there, welcome back to another video of me on New Year's Eve. Okay, it's 11:10 p.m. right now. It's a little earlier than I normally start these, but I think it's for good reason. Um, because this is the last year that I'm making one of these. Like, pretty much. I don't want to keep doing extra this year. Well, I guess we'll see how I feel next year. But next year, I'm actually gonna go back and I'll watch them all around the end of New Year's. This is it. This is everything. So towards the end of this, I think I will kind of talk more about the last 2 years and talk about my evolution as like a person and my ideas. I always do kind of reference the previous years when I talk about these anyway, but I think it's good to like actually do a full focus on that rather than just being like, oh, when I was 14, I thought this. So that leaves us in the meantime here. It is 2024. It's now 11:11 because I always take too long on my intros. But uh, it's been one hell of a year for sure. Uh, I remember last year it was kind of stale. And I thought, okay, 2022, that's as good as it gets. But I actually think 2024 um was probably better than 2022, and I really do mean that. Um, so per usual, I kind of have to think about the entire year. It's been a whole year. That's a long time. Some things feel genuinely like an eternity ago. The best example of this is epistemology. It's a class I took at the beginning of this year. It's like from what, January to May. Feels like I started it a lifetime ago, but no, when I made the last video, I had not yet started epistemology. So it's kind of weird to think about it in the scope of the entire year. Uh, so I guess I should address all of this. My PC. We built this. We didn't build it. We bought it in late September, early October, for about $500, which is pretty good. And I've been really liking it. The webcam did not come with the PC. I think my webcam's down here somewhere. Uh, okay, my fridge is making noises. Um, my old webcam is down there somewhere, and it did like this weird glitchy hacker effect. It was very odd, to say the least. So I had to actually go out and buy a new webcam on what day are we? Tuesday. It was like sometime last week. I don't even remember. It was right after Christmas. Was it like Friday? I think. Whatever. Um, but yeah, this webcam's fine. It's basically the same quality as the old one, but at least I have some scope. Like my last one was down here, and it was like such a weird angle, and I was like, ooh, boo, boo, boo. um, but this one's definitely not as bad. And then of course I have my new microphone. I just like pulled my monitor. I probably shouldn't do that. Uh, so this has all been really nice. This is like a dream for me. It's funny because I've barely played anything on here yet because I'll get into that a little bit later. Just the way I've been, I guess, thinking mentally, it's been harder to play games this year. And yeah, I think that's all I want to say for my PC. It just looks cool. It wasn't originally meant to be like this. Actually, I wanted my tower up there, or maybe I wanted like my monitor over here. But I opted for this instead. My Discord's still open. I just realized I didn't want to get distracted by Discord, so let me close that. Um, so yeah, 2024. What else do we want to talk about? Okay. Obviously, the big thing this year was becoming an adult. That was definitely the biggest change. Dreamed about it for, all the time I was an adult, which is my whole life. But I didn't know what to expect when it came to being an adult. Uh, Obviously, I got my card and I can go out and do things. I can get arrested if I want to. It's always the best part. But it feels like a different life compared to when I was in high school at the start of the year. Like when you're a senior in high school, like I tell people, high school and college are just very different realities. College is just so independent compared to high school, and it doesn't feel so much like I'm going to school. It feels like I'm going out and like working as a support part of a project, and that's kind of weird to say because it's just schoolwork, right? But I started college this year, and I'm really liking it. I think it's not like fun, but it's not like that bad either, especially compared to high school. I just have more time on myself. It has kind of affected me mentally because I found it harder to do like fun things this year. Um, I mean that like I always kind of had college work to do, but you know me, I'm a procrastinator. Like I never was doing it right away. But I'm not the type of procrastinator to like straight up ignore it completely. I just sit there and I think about it. And that's really started to affect me this year because I had so much more work to do compared to high school, and it was all so much more important that I basically wasn't allowing myself to have fun. Because I'm like, no, I'm distracting myself from my schoolwork, and that's definitely affected me. Even now, like I'm on break right now. Obviously, I don't start college until like mid January. Um, it's kind of like hard to sit down and do fun things. Just convincing myself to do it. I always feel like there's something important that I should be doing, and that's definitely taken a huge hit on my mental because like I want to like play chess or Catan, but I can't because I'm like, oh, but I'm ignoring my college work. But then I don't want to do my college work. So I spend all this time not doing my college work, but also not like productive procrastination, right? I'll like productively procrastinate and be like, oh, okay, I'll look for any way to pass the time that isn't like that doesn't feel like ignoring my work. I'll be like, oh, I'm talking to somebody, like, or oh, I need to sleep, you know, and I kind of do that as a way of procrastination. So with all that in mind, it's kind of been hard to just sit down and just do things, which is a mindset. Hopefully, I'm willing to organize myself more. So yeah, but also just becoming an adult, like just going out and doing things, is very different now. Um, I think my dad also made an effort to make sure I was more independent, which ended up being very nice because I can like go places. I don't have to tell him. Like I wasn't going to class every day, because like I didn't really have to most days. Like who cares? I wasn't paying attention to math. Like I wasn't. I tried at the start of the year and it didn't work. Um, I wasn't like paying attention to all my classes anyway. So like it's not a big deal if I miss this class. Like you know, although sometimes attendance is graded just a little bit. I'm gonna move my microphone closer to me because I feel like it's not totally picking up everything. I hope it is. 'Cause if so, I've just been like talking to the air for like the next last 8 minutes. Um, but yeah, I think with college, you know, wait, no, I was talking about. Oh, sorry, the independence. Sorry, I always do this when I talk. My mind's always racing, so I go between a bunch of different things. I've kind of learned that about myself this year. Uh, So when it came to independence, yeah, my dad was allowing me to do more things, but I definitely wasn't telling him everything. Sometimes I would lie. I'm not always the most honest, but yeah, I mean I could like drive to the bank or I could like drive to the store, and that's definitely like the biggest feel of adulting that I've had. I could drive to my job. I did have a job earlier this year. I will talk about that in a second. Um, but I think it's overall positive. Like even though I have to like God forbid make my own dentist appointments, I have one to schedule right now and I haven't done it. I kept meaning to do it. I meant to do it like on what would do Tuesday. I meant to do it yesterday, but I didn't do it. So I'll try to do it tomorrow. I can't promise anything if they're even open. I don't know if they're open on New Year's Day. um, but yeah, I mean it's so freeing, right? Finally being 18. I remember I had my 18th birthday party, and it's like, wow, this is it. I closed out that chapter of my life, and I wrote the book, but I don't want to talk about that yet because, as I promised, I will talk about the job. Um, earning money was very surreal. I started my job at the end of July, yeah, and I was very happy. I remember that was a big goal of mine in 2023. I was like, I swear to God, if I go the entirety of 2024 without having a job, I'm gonna hit somebody. But no, it was fine. It was fine. Um, Yeah, I felt like, oh my god, sometimes I need to like fix my eyebrows. It's like yeah, I noticed that when I'm looking at my screen. I'm like, yes, it's fine. Okay. Um, but yeah, I noticed that for sure. Uh, having the job. Okay. So as far as the job, I only held over 2 months because turns out I wasn't. First off, I wasn't like the greatest for Domino's. I started the Domino's this year, and my manager basically told me, "Yeah, you're all right, but not really what we're looking for." So he fired me. That was the end of that. And I have a new job right now. Technically, I have a new job. I haven't started yet. I was supposed to start like mid or like early mid December, but I guess the CEO like quit. Not the CEO, like whoever was leading the thing quit. So that was the end of that. And now they're having to like get a new person in. They can't put me on schedule. It's a whole thing. It's a whole ordeal. Um, but hopefully I'll start that in January. That'll be fun. So I'm very happy that I did get a job though, and it's hard with the job market, especially part time jobs. Nobody wants to hire someone for part time. That's like so worthless. But it has been very nice to have a job, even if I didn't have it for that long. And now I have a new one, and I have like $5,500 in my bank account right now, but it's not technically my money. um, I got it loaned from the VA because for my college stuff, and I just haven't given it to them yet. I used it to buy Christmas presents. It wasn't like savage. It wasn't like personal or anything. Just I mean, my dad said he would help pay off whatever they didn't pay. So thanks, Dad. I have to sometimes look at my privilege as an adult as well. Be like, okay, I'm an adult, yeah, but I have a house I can stay in. It's not mine. I don't have to pay rent yet. Like, I have they have money to help support my education. I think about that. And don't get me wrong, I will absolutely use every single privilege I have. Just sometimes I don't want it to sound like I'm an adult and I'm like, oh, look at me making it in the world on my own. Because there's definitely privileges I have that not everyone gets, and I have to understand that. Um, so I think that's about all I want to say with college. I guess the only other thing was that I was thinking about applying to where was it? Oh my god, there was Full Sail. What was the other one? Oh, DigiPen. That's right. I wanted to apply to DigiPen, because it was more computer science based school. I took one semester of Java this year. My camera should be focused. I don't know what that was. But I took one semester of Java this year, and I realized if I want to learn coding, I don't have to do it in college. I always thought college would kind of be like the best way to do it, and now I actually did it. I was like, okay, this is like the worst way to learn coding. Like coding is such like an intimate process where you kind of learn each part at a time. Like this whole week by week basis thing where you have to like do assignments and meet deadlines all the time. Yeah, like you got to do that in like the real world. But as far as like coding and like the way college is structured too, because he would always like stand up there and talk and tell us what the code, but we didn't get to like try it until we were out of class. So heaven forbid we had a question, and you have to take notes. I do wish I was taking notes in that class, but it's in the past now, and I'm probably switching my major. Epistemology. I got really into philosophy this year, and I do want to get even more into philosophy now. Thinking about becoming a philosophy major, and the only reason I haven't officially switched yet is one because I'm lazy, I guess, but two because I kind of understand that with college, um, you have to have a plan. Like the degree doesn't get you anything on its own. Like you gotta have like an idea. You're not just getting the degree. You're prepping for your career. And I don't really know what I would do with the philosophy degree right now. So that's kind of where I'm at with college. And I have no regrets going to UCCS. I didn't know if I would regret it. I don't. I don't. It's great to just be here and be with everyone. I'm glad I didn't leave Colorado. But yeah, I think that's okay. That's all I want to say about college. Okay. So, guess I gotta talk about people. That's the next big thing on my mind. I don't think I've actually met that many people this year. Um, I was definitely meeting more people in like 2022, 2023 as a result of like speech and debate and just general connections. But when it comes to meeting people, yeah, I met a few people in college. I met Lexi. Lexi's very cool. She's probably like the main person I've become good friends with based out of college. I thought that'd be Robert, but I don't know. I don't talk to Robert that much. Not for any reason. So I think when it came to the people all year, I met. I guess I talked about Angelina. I've been looking for ways to avoid saying her name, but yes, I bet Angelina. Not technically this year. That was technically last December, but I like I know when I made that last video, I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm so good friends with Angelina, or I might become friends with Angelina. Like that's one of the things that kind of just happened by accident. I just asked for her Discord because we were kind of talking about song pop and all that, um, and it just kind of we just kept talking. Like that's literally how I become friends with people. I talk to them for a little bit. Either we hit it off or we don't. And when we hit it off, we really hit it off. It's very weird like that. But yeah, I mean, I don't like to get sappy, but Angeline is one of the best people I've ever met, just hands down. She's been very sweet, and yeah, that was definitely the number one thing that happened to me this year was being able to be friends with her. It's always kind of weird to talk about specific people when I make these because I'm always worried they're gonna like watch. They are gonna watch them probably. It's this big project, um, but I'm like when they're gonna watch them, be like, oh, he thinks about me, oh, or whatever people find out when they see people talking about them. I don't know. Um, yeah. I want to clarify. I've never like liked her or anything. Not like romantically. I mean, it was all platonic between me and her. I just compliment people sometimes, and then it's like they're like, oh, he likes them. Like when it comes to women, and I mean, I know how I feel about that. But I guess one thing that came unprecedented this year, as far as people, was dating. So I specifically remember last year I made a comment about like sharing a dorm with Nicole or like working on my major with her. I kind of like this ideal vision of college because for some reason I got the idea where that she was going to UCCS. I don't remember if she told me that she was or if I like just imagined that, but yeah, and I liked Nicole kind of, and then it became like more of a thing this year. So there was a solid like 2 months of my life dedicated to trying to get her to like me. Not solely dedicated, but pretty largely dedicated. And it's the first time I ever tried anything like that. I remember late June I told her I liked her, and she did not reciprocate, which kind of sucked, but in retrospect, I was definitely a little delusional. um, there was a confirmation bias. I was looking for signs that she liked me, and I took like any miniature sign of her showing like any interest just as me as a person, not even romantically, as like something romantic. Um, it's kind of silly because I feel like if I were just like from the outside looking in, I would have told myself you're being stupid. But oh man, when you like someone, that's it's a totally different feeling. You're like looking for anything. Um, but yeah, that kind of ended. I mean, I wasn't talking to her as much. She hasn't hung out with me since I since I told her I liked her. I don't know if those two things are correlated. I haven't really asked her much either because I didn't want to be like, oh, you don't like me? Well, do you want to hang out anyway? um, but yeah, I don't know. I hate when I do that. I hate when I like have a thought and then I just end it with, yeah, I don't know, whatever. It's kind of annoying. But anyway, uh, yeah, when it comes to Nicole, I don't regret telling her I liked her. It was a good life experience, good learning experience. So I don't think I ruined our friendship because we were both inevitably going to be busier with college anyway, and I don't think we don't like not talk. Or sorry, I don't think we not talk. Okay, whatever. You know what I meant. Like we still kind of talk sometimes, so I think we're still like friends. I don't know. But I don't really want to go on about this girl. She's definitely autistic, by the way. I mistaked her autism for flirting. Just wanted to throw that out there. She doesn't know she's autistic, but she so definitely is. Okay, yeah, dating. I mean, yeah, I downloaded Hinge earlier this year as like a joke. I'm like, I want to troll girls on Hinge, but it didn't really go anywhere. So now I'm like doing it seriously because I'm like, oh, I might as well, Larry. If I'm looking for someone to date, might as well like go on Hinge. Discord. I think I'm hearing things. Okay, I think that was my fridge. I thought it was Discord. I don't know. But yeah, I mean Hinge. I've been on Hinge. I've been on Boo, and it's been an all right experience. I've met a few girls. Never really went anywhere. I'm talking to. I think you see her name like Zara. I'm talking to her right now. I might go somewhere with her. I mean, she seems to like me. You know, she lives up in Boulder. She's a little far away, but it might go somewhere. Who knows? We got about 4 months to find out. She's moving out of her house in April, and she's moving to a dorm. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. But yeah, I guess I wasn't really expecting to get into dating this year, but I kind of had like a minor crush on Nicole in like last December. Then I hung out with her in, like February or March, like outside, and that's when it became like I was like in the car that day, and I was like, oh, I like this girl. Okay, um, yeah, I almost felt kind of bad in that regard because we talked about it that day, and we were like, oh, um, what did we say? We said like, oh yeah, like I don't really like anyone right now, and like, wouldn't it be so weird if people thought we like each other? Ha ha ha. And then I went home that day and I was like, but I do kind of like her, I think. I felt kind of bad for that, but yeah. Again, it feels like a lifetime ago to happen in February, but last year I didn't know that was going to happen, so I kind of have to think about the whole year like that. Um, I guess on the topic of friends, I got to bring up the Great Council, which is kind of like Rin's friend group that I'm more of a part of. Like it's kind of her server for all her friends, and I'm just kind of like in it. But I'm really good friends with a lot of those people, so it's been really nice to be in that server again. Having that method of communication has been really important for me. Unfortunately, going into next year, I think I'm gonna have to make more friends in college. I made friends with Lexi, which is great, but I would. Yeah, I mean, Alex is moving next summer to Arizona. Anthony dropped out of college. I don't know what he's doing. Rin might be moving to like Illinois or something. She's kind of talked about it sometimes. So I might be losing a lot of friends here in Colorado, which kind of sucks. Part of the reason I stayed in Colorado is because I wanted to stay with them, but fine. And like none of my friends go to UCCS. Like I don't know what it is. I guess it's the fact that like people don't want to go to like a local college, but if they do, then they go to Pikes Peak. Um, so UCS is kind of like this weird middle ground that people don't want to go. I don't know. Whatever. um, but yeah, with that in mind, I think that's all I want to say about other people. Just like the people I've gotten to know this year are so cool, and now I have 100 followers on Instagram. I'm practically Instagram famous now because of my friends. So I really appreciate them. I've also kind of started using Instagram as like my main platform for everything. Like I kind of was last year, but it's become a big thing this year, just because I have my real life connections on there. Okay. What else? Where else was I kind of last year? I remember last year I was like, this is kind of random. I was like 1 month off the crash, like me getting into a wreck because I happened like what December 3rd, December 2nd, and I was out here like still kind of processing it. Not really, but I was still nervous I was gonna go back out there and crash. I didn't crash this year. Um, I remember it was like April, I think, um, where I was like out driving to Walmart, and that was the day I realized that I knew how to drive. Like I don't really remember what specifically I was doing that day, but I just when I was at Walmart, and I was like on the highway, and I was like, God damn, I'm a really good driver. Like it just kind of hit me. I was like, I actually know how to drive. Like I feel comfortable doing just about anything right now. Walmart parking lot, no problem. You know. um, I guess I can talk about the book. You know, the book I wrote. How did we get here? The one I came up with, I think like last year around. I remember it was around Alex's birthday. I had the idea, but I don't remember when I got the names idea for like that. What I wanted the book to actually be. I just know I wanted it to be kind of a autobiography, and I loved writing the book. I wrote it in a week. Super stressful, but I don't regret it. I think it's gonna be very good to look back on. I haven't even read it since I finished it. I finished it and I like instantly published it. No edits. I remember Angelina read it and she found like 4 typos, and I'm like, oh, that's so embarrassing. But yeah, I put it on a Wattpad, which I didn't because I didn't know AO3 existed. 'Cause I was just looking for anywhere to publish this thing, and I was like, where can I put this? It was like 5 a.m. and I had school the next day. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, I think it's been such a good year just because of the people, and it's kind of funny to think about it like that because I used to be not much of a people person, but every like 2022, I thought that was a good year because I met people, and 2024, I think it was a good year because of my relationships with people evolved and I became closer with people, and that's very telling, like outside of like becoming an adult and all that, right? Because that was all cool and fun too, but just like the fact that I've become so much closer with so many people is kind of impacted my year so positively because I have something that I didn't know I was striving for so long, and that's really special to me. Um, like originally it was speech and debate, so I guess I'll talk about that a little bit. Again, felt like a lifetime ago. I finished speech and debate in March, and it feels like speech and debate. That was a past version of me. But no, I didn't manage to win a competition, which I'm still kind of regretful about. But I love speech and debate, and it's not something that I want to drop. I do like speaking to audiences, and I kind of want to incorporate that into a career. Like now that I'm changing my major, I think about my career a lot. Because I'm like, what's the idea? My new job, right? It's kind of like marketing. It's marketing. It's sales. It's an hourly sales job. I don't really know how that works, but whatever. So I think about like presenting myself almost as a career. Like not that I want to go out and be a motivational speaker for the rest of my life, but just like the opportunity to express myself and express my thoughts in a way that made me challenge myself as a way of making people listen was really important for me when I was doing speech and debate. I think that was definitely the biggest thing that I cared about. That and winning. I really did want to win because I thought it'd be cool for like my social cred. But yeah, I think that's something I want to look into in the future, being able to express myself. And that's part of the reason why I like philosophy too, because I'm good at it. I'm good at philosophy, I think. Like a lot of my thinking does not come from research, theory, or like reading. A lot of my theory comes from like, just my own critical thought, thinking about these things myself. And that's something that I think I realized this year was really special. Like not just like, oh, you're so smart, oh, you're so good at writing, like just the fact that most people's ideas come from things they've seen, and I definitely have ideas like that too. But I think with them, they rely so much on like the books they read, right? I'm not trying to make myself sound special, but my way of thinking, I think, will be very good in the future. Uh, because if I incorporate that with like reading, I want to get a library card soon. That's an idea for me, and I want to start like reading nonfiction books. I always like really didn't like doing it when I was in high school, but it was also really boring in high school, and I didn't like doing it in college either. I got like two D's, because I didn't want to read anything. But I don't know. I think I would really enjoy it if I actually like picked out the subjects myself and I could read just random literature about random philosophy ideas, or my fridge. Every time my fridge makes noise, I look at it. um, but I think that's an idea as well. I want to get into reading. Um, but yeah, I think my big goal next year is actually to make friends at college. I kind of talked about that a little bit already, but most of my friends might be moving next year, so I gotta work this out sooner rather than later. Maybe I'll get a girlfriend. Who knows? I feel like I'm like acting weird. Like I feel like I I was a little tired. Like I remember like 7 p.m. today. I like fell asleep for like 2 hours, so that's fun. Um, but hey, it's New Year's Eve. It's always a time to be happy. And I think 2024 was probably the best year so far. It's kind of weird 2024 ending because this was always my future year. Like I was class 2024, right? So this was the year I was gonna become an adult. This is the year I was gonna graduate high school, and this is the year where like my life was gonna change, and it kind of did. And now it's over, and now it's like, oh my god, I have this whole like realm of years moving forward that are like so much can happen. Like the change has happened. Now I just have to take the wheel. You know that's really special to me, and I'm kind of excited to see where life goes. I think I said that last year too. I'm really excited to see where life goes, but it's so different now because the main change that I was looking for last year has already happened. So it's like now what? And I found joy in just being adventurous. I remember there was a period earlier this year where after I wrote my book, I felt like I didn't have much of a project to work on. Like I was out of high school, college wasn't for a little while, and I just finished my big project, and I was like, okay, now what? And I was almost kind of depressed. I wouldn't say I was depressed, but I felt bored a lot because I didn't have anything to like work on. I didn't have anything like big I was looking at. So I've kind of learned that about myself too. I always thought I was the kind of person that would take any opportunity to be lazy or relax, but I actually don't think that's the case. I think I'm pretty hardworking, and I think my job really showed that too. Like even when I was tired, I really wanted to work hard at my job because I wanted to contribute to something. So that's been kind of the main thesis of this year is learning that about myself and learning, of course I make mistakes and I learn from those as well, but definitely the idea that I want to commit myself to something from now on is something that'll really benefit me. And just the idea of risk is so tempting, right? Because I'm checking my time. Um, just the idea of risk because it feels like I like even if something goes wrong, I'll enjoy the risk. Like even if I like I don't know, started working at a strip club, like it sounds ridiculous, but I'd enjoy the risk. Like yeah, I might hate it. Like I don't know, I might like lose a ton of money, but like I'd enjoy the risk. I'm kind of crazy like that. I learned. So when you kind of realize that, and when you feel like that, you feel like you can do anything. I feel like I can do anything. I really do feel unstoppable moving into this next year. Um, so is there anything else big I wanted to talk about that's happened this year? Uh, I like doing these unscripted because then I get moments like this to think. I'm like, what else happened this year? Hmm. But yeah, definitely everything with my mental changed this year, and I'm more optimistic. I'm doing like MRA stuff now. Like it's so silly. I've never been much of an activist, but I found something I was passionate about, right? Gender issues, and I was like, I want to do this more. Like I don't know. I like the moment I became passionate about it, suddenly I was like the hardest working person in the world. So weird. So this is normally around where I'd end this, but I do want to talk about previous years as well. So I think it's funny at the end of 2020 how different of a person I was, and I found proof of this earlier. Around May or so, when I knew everything was going to get wiped off my high school account, I stored it all on my personal Gmail. I just made copies and I stored everything easy. And while I was doing that, I came across some documents from eighth grade that my eighth grade history teacher forced me to write during COVID, asking me like about COVID and how I felt during the time. And I was so nonchalant about it. I was like, well, I like being alone. So who cares? And I proceeded to waste my life away playing Geometry Dash. I'm a new mouse, by the way. New mouse. Um, so it's kind of funny to think about that because now if COVID happened again, I'd probably write something about like wanting to take advantage of this time. And last I was so nonchalant about it when I was 14. And I know it's cliche to bring up COVID when you talk about 2020, but I think that really shows something about my character at the time. And I was like, I just enjoyed my life for what it is, and now I'm so ambitious. It's so weird, right? 2021, I was less ambitious, but I was definitely trying to make people like me. Um, I would have never admitted it that year, but I was. I think I was anyway. And towards the end of that year, I was a little destroyed. I wrote about it in my book. You should read my book. It's on my Instagram. Um, and that's part of why 2022 was so special because that's the year I my those ambitions started. And even 2022, I was like, well, that happened. And I kind of just, I think I was taking it a little bit for granted. Like, I was grateful, but I was also like, oh, sweet, I have friends now. Awesome. And I kind of stopped working a little in 2023. And now we're so back. We're so back. Like, now, like, I feel like I have more than I ever have, and I still want more. And I should be mad about that, but it's so awesome. Like, being this ambitious and just wanting more from your own life. I think if I could tell anyone, I'm just like, just keep chasing, man. Keep trying to do things. There's always a way out, you know? Um, I remember back then as well, like, I was so, like, dreamy about my life. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be so cool when I'm an adult. And now I'm actually an adult, and I'm like, okay, let's do this. Let's become cool. Yeah. I remember talking about what I wanted to be like, what, a YouTuber when I was 14. Ugh. And in reality, it wasn't about making YouTube videos because that was just something I was good at. You know, that wasn't like some huge passion of mine. It was more about like, I guess, putting my word out there and having a platform. That's what I valued, and that's what I'm striving for. I want a big platform. I don't know how I'm gonna get it. That's not the only thing I'm striving for. I'm just striving for other things as well. But you get the idea, right? Like just being able to put things into the world. That's what I value so much, and I think that's one of the big changes in my character. You know, that 2022 video. I haven't listened to any of these. Obviously, I haven't watched any of these, but I still have the audio on my phone, from 2022. So I Premiere on here. I have to like fix it. I have to like put the audio over the video, like a free stream of the video because the video obviously didn't work. Yeah, I'm so glad to have the laptop anymore. This PC is like a crazy quality of life change. Crazy insane. Having I can just put whatever the hell I want on here. And nobody's gonna look at it. Like it's all I'm always gonna have access to it whenever I want. It's so nice. It's so nice, dude. But yeah, with that kind of reflection, obviously I'll do more reflection next year when I am actually watching these. But oh my god, dude, I can't believe it's the last one. Like I've done so many of these, and I've always been so self-conscious. I shouldn't do so much. I want like my like my fake mullet, my half mullet back here showing. I want like a high top. I was like fixing my hair before I did this. I care about my looks. Like I care about myself. I care about myself so much, and I love it. It feels so good to be different than what I used to be. I don't know, but I think that's all I want to say about this year. It was just a good year overall. I mean, being able to start college, being able to meet these people or just become closer with people, being able to be an independent adult, those were definitely the three main things this year that made this year so special to me. And now it's over. It's currently 11:48 p.m. You know, checking my time again. I have my glasses on. My glasses are right back there. You. um. So, with that in mind, I don't know if I have much else to say. What's funny is I already know this is gonna go like another 2 minutes where I'm just like, huh, guess I don't have anything more to say. I feel because it's like a video diary, So like this is gonna become a historic artifact. So I'm entitled to your attention for however long I want to be. I laugh a lot. It's a good philosophy for life, right? You just laugh a lot. Who cares? It's a problem-free philosophy. Like there's nothing else to say, right? I saw Sonic 3 2 weeks ago. Like life keeps going, Was it 2 weeks ago? It was the 21st. Okay. Yeah, it's technically 2 weeks ago because it didn't happen last week. It happened the week before that, but it's like a week and a half when you count all the days together. Okay. Wow. That's it, huh? It's the last one. It's weird to think about all the things I didn't know would happen when I made the last video, and now we're all just everything's here. It all happened, and I can be like, wow, I'm a different person now. It's really special to me. Okay. Um, but yes, I think from there that's actually all I want to say. Again, I probably missed some things, but such is life. Thank you for listening to these if you did. For the last time, I think, this is Iconics, also known as Jacob, signing off for the night.